What's up, everybody? Listen, if you're a parent, I know at the core of your parenting, your desire is to be the best parent you can be. And you're like a lot of people, you'll find out that your parenting style is in such a way with the ideology that says, I want to do more for my kids than when it was done for me. Or I don't want my kids to have experienced what I experienced. Or they say, you know what, I don't want my kids to have to struggle like I struggled. You see, I can understand exactly what that's like, especially growing up in the inner city, okay, in Camden, New Jersey, and in very, very humble beginnings. And as I traveled and didn't have much resources, didn't have a whole lot of stuff, but in the end of the day, what I experienced, the lack of resources that we had, the lack of materialism things that we had, actually developed and produced in me a greater benefit on the other side. And so in this video, we're going to talk about the opposite of that. Not when you're struggling and the benefit of struggling and the benefit of having, not having enough and all those things. We'll do that on another video. But we're going to talk about the other side. You see, in Camden, New Jersey, that was a place of humble beginnings. But there was a couple counties and cities over that these kids and these parents was a little different. And they actually got a term for them. They're called helicopter parents. And so in this video, we're going to talk about some of a couple biggest problems with helicopter parents. Well, what is a helicopter parent? It's basically a helicopter parent. They get the term from hovering over. That just means that they're overprotective. They're not really allowing their kids to really develop into certain things because they're always providing things for them. They're basically structuring them. It's kind of like cuddling and holding their hand at every stage of their life. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're a helicopter parent, you're probably thinking, well, what's wrong with me helping my child? Nothing's wrong with that. Here you say, well, what's wrong with me basically just being there and supplying things so that they don't have to struggle or they don't have to feel what I felt? There's nothing wrong with supplying and being there as a supporter. But if you're an enabler to an area where they're not able to develop, you see, when you remember this, when you remember that, especially when it comes to adversity and things in life, that life isn't happening to you. Life is happening for you and because of you. And so when you think about raising children, life situations tend to present themselves for them, to help them develop something, to help them grow, to help them analyze, to help them process, help them move from one place to the other. But instead of them going from one place to the other on their own or with little guidance, helicopter parents tend to try to come rescue them, pick them up, take them out, whisk them away. I don't know. Are you a helicopter parent? Or are you a parent? Are you kind of more, when I say traditional or old school, that say, you know what? You're going to learn on your own. And there are some things at a different stage of your life you're going to have to learn. And I would be doing you more harm if I did not allow you to experience certain things and lessons that life was supposed to teach you. So in this, we're going to talk about basically 5 quick areas, okay? And I'm going to share some experience about, how I was parenting and some of the things that I hear from different parents as well as I talk and as I share with other parents and I share with kids in school and you name it, on social media and everywhere. And so here's a couple of things. Number one is that they found out that children who have helicopter parents, okay, they're more likely to have health problems. They're more likely to have health problems. There was a study done in Florida State, and it found that helicopter kids are more likely to have health issues in adulthood. One of the things it says, because their parents are always told them what to do. And because they always told them what to do, they always told them where to go, they always told them when to exercise, okay, whenever they try to do all these things, when now they have to make all those decisions for themselves, that's a lot. It's like operation overload. It's like emotional overload. It's kind of like even as an adult, you know how it is, when all of a sudden you have to make all the decisions for yourself. Or let's just say when something drastic or dramatic happened in your life and you lost someone. The pain, not only the pain you felt, but the sense of emptiness and the void that you felt. Well, imagine how that feels. Okay, well, imagine how that feels for a child. Or imagine how it feels for a child who had never really developed the emotional stability, because parents have always been able to walk with them. I know for me, for me, I tried it with my children, raising 5 children. Okay, a son who's 25, 20-year-old daughter, 18-year-old daughter, 16-year-old daughter, raising a 9 now. My thought process is I had a list, and that list it said, what are certain life skills that kids should be able to learn at different ages? And then that means that my job as a parent in support with their wife, with their mother, okay, or their guardian, is to make sure that we're on the same page and that we're creating opportunities or looking for opportunities for kids to have teachable moments and to grow in these specific areas. Because again, all kids can't learn everything right away, but if you're strategic about it, instead of holding their hand, allow them. You think about it, when a baby was a child, okay, when a child was a baby and it was just starting to walk, okay, you can imagine, do you remember the first steps, of your child, when first started to walk, it's holding on, embracing itself, and you're kind of nervous, and you're like, oh my goodness, my baby's gonna fall? But what happened after that baby does fall? What does that baby typically try to do? That baby typically tries to get back up. And then if the baby falls again, it tries to get back up. But I can imagine what a helicopter parent would do is, as soon as the baby falls, what a helicopter parent does when that baby is a baby, and when they get adolescence, and when they get teenager, and sometimes even adulthood, that parent come rescue them and say, okay, I don't want you to fall. I don't want you to hurt yourself. I don't want you to even experience the pain. Well, the pain is something that they're going to experience, but probably not at the time that you rescue them, but could be later in life. You see, in life, we're meant to grow through stuff. We're meant to go through stuff. We're meant to be developed by it. We're meant to be shaped, taught, and trained through adversity. That is one of the shaping tools of our character, is adversity. And so one of the studies found that the kids of helicopter parents, they tend to have more health issues. The second thing is they typically start to feel more entitled. They start demanding things just because of who they are. Versus instead of thinking that they're here to work things, they're to work at the sweat of their brow. Now, I'm not saying that you can't give gifts. Okay, I'm not saying that you can't provide another opportunity. But what in helicopter parents does is that it teaches that child that everybody is supposed to support me in the same capacity, in the same way. Now, it does not negate them from having what we call a kingdom mindset, which says, you know what? God says I'm a masterpiece. God says I'm one of his children. God says I'm an ambassador. I have an ability. I'm a co-creator, and I'm here to manage this earth. No, that ain't what we're talking about, not that mindset. Because even in that mindset, it says that I have all these things so I can serve others. But children of helicopter parents typically think I have all these things for me. So when they start looking at life, they become more entitled because they become self-focused. Okay? They become self-focused. They focus mainly on their self. They are the very center of their universe because their helicopter parents have made them feel that way, or they create an environment for them to think about it in that way. You see, as parents, we have to intentionally at times allow a child to fall. We have to intentionally allow a child to go through stuff. We have to intentionally say no. You think about this. If we're created by the master or creator of the whole universe, and every time you pray or have a discussion with God and you pray and you ask for something, do you get it at every moment? At every time? At the moment you ask for it? I guarantee you the answer is no. Because in a relationship with our spiritual relationship, it may be yes, it may be no, or maybe not, it may be not yet. And so is the same thing for us. If we adopt that pattern, that with our children, the answer may be yes. The answer sometimes may be no. And then sometimes the answer may be not yet, which means they have to grow. And so they got to go through some things. They got to experience some stuff on the inside out for them to be ready for what it is that we want to give them. Okay, and so again, number two, they typically they feel more entitled. Number three is they can grow with emotional problems. Okay, emotional problem. Now, number one, remember this. Emotions are our human nature, our human design experience, how we engage and how we express ourselves and engage with things and people here on this earth. That's the purpose of emotions. So we can then experience, it connects us with an experience, okay, with the things that we have here on this earth and the people. Okay, and so if a person is being rescued all the time, they never get a chance to develop every single emotion. I believe at one point in everybody's life, you're going to feel every emotion that's possible. And for you to have a holistic life, I think it's almost mandatory and necessary for you to feel every single feeling that you can in life. Because if you don't, you will only know a couple things and not other things. And if you don't, okay, and if you only had an experience where you only knew the positive things, the good things, okay, then what happens when you go through the bad things? You don't know what to do. I'll never forget, when I finished the NFL, And you figure, I was doing that for so long, and I get a chance now as a life coach working with guys coming into the league and guys leaving the league. When they finish the NFL, during their time in the NFL, the emotions that they experience is one of confidence, it's boldness, it's recklessness, abandonment, it's passion, it's all those. They feel that because we've been doing it for so long. But when you get done, and now all of a sudden what you've been doing is not needed anymore, or the skill set you have is not required anywhere, and now you feel like, well, what do I do now? You feel lost. And so in feeling lost when you get done, as a matter of fact, the people you used to do it with, meaning the players you used to play with, you no longer could be around them. The friends you established, you can no longer be around them. The very identity that you had, you no longer can do that. So you're only looking at the best life sometimes behind you. And so you can imagine some of the emotions that a person feels when they lose a job like that, or they lose a relationship, or lose a loved one. I mean, there can be feelings of shame, of guilt, of confusion, of bitterness, of denial, of isolation, of anger, all these emotions. But for a helicopter parent, if a helicopter parent, is not careful, what they'll do is they'll rescue children so much that when a person does get to those stages, and they do feel that, when they do feel that, what they'll typically do is they'll try to do the fight or flight thing, and they'll just go and they'll try to just flight away, and they'll just try to run away. And typically you're either running from something when you're running to something else. And so again, one of the challenges with helicopter parents is that children grow up with emotional issues. And the way that a lot of people try to manage or subdue their emotions is with chemicals, with substance, with abusing something, abnormally using something. It could be sex, it could be their words, it could be their body, it could be their family, it could be drugs, it could be alcohol. But if you're a helicopter parent, and you're helping your children, you're rescuing them, and you're enabling them in this situation, then these are some of the issues that you have to be aware of. Okay, the next thing is helicopter parents, children of helicopter parents, they typically rely on medication because, as I just stated, they're not used to tolerating discomfort. And if we know that medication can get on the inside and chemically can change our state of mind instantaneously, then what they're going to typically do is they're going to start medicating. They're going to medicate these things, whether with drugs or alcohol. There's been some study. There was a study done in Tennessee, University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, that said that children who has parents who hovered over them, they take more medication for anxiety and depression. They take more medicine than anxiety and depression. I'm going to share with you, when I grew up in Camden, New Jersey, man, it was days that we came home and there wasn't any lights on. You think that's something to make you anxious about? It was times that people knocked on the door, the bill man, and we didn't have money for the bill. You think that'll make somebody anxious? It was times, man, that we had to walk everywhere because the cars didn't work. It was times that we had stuff on layaway, never got it off. You think that'll make a child depressed? You think that'll allow us to have to deal with disappointment and discomfort and shame in some sorts? Yes. But because we went through that, and we experienced it, and we saw that it was just a season, it was just a moment. It was just a period of time. And it was developing in me a sense of appreciation and contentment for what I did have versus all the things I didn't have. And then it allowed me to also to focus on the things that are most important versus the things that, versus just some of the things that I wanted. Focus on the things that I need versus just things that I wanted. And then over time, watch this, over time, as you're developed in that, then it gets reversed. Then you can focus on the things that you want versus just the things that you need. And so again, understanding that. So they did that study. They found out they take more medicine for depression and anxiety. Here's something else that they said. They said that people, kids who do that are more likely to use recreational drugs. They're more likely to use recreational painkillers. Remember, that's recreational. It's not because they hurt. It ain't because they just, they was in a game and they cracked their ankle, they broke their knee, or they strained their hamstring or something. No, it's just they feel like, wait a minute, I get to go to this happy place. And all of that, a lot of that is stemmed because the hovering parents, the helicopter parents, never allowed them to experience this. Never allowed them to experience it. I know as a father, when my babies was young, you never want to hear, and mothers, you can attest to this, you never want to hear your baby crying. You don't want to hear, and just the very sound of your baby cry, man, can do something in your heart that says, oh man, it just makes your heart sing. But how many of you know there's some times when that baby cries, you have to let that baby cry. You can't go in every time because that baby will start getting conditioned that all I have to do is make a sound and that sound is going to trigger someone to come. And so understanding that, so is the same thing when kids get older. Okay, if they know that if I call mom or dad or I complain, or if I just pout, or if I get an attitude, or if I shut down, or I roll my eyes, if I do something because I don't like it, okay, then all of a sudden, here they come rescue me again. And so understanding this, they typically rely on medication. And the last thing, okay, this is another challenge of helicopter parents with the children, is they lack the self-regulation skills. They lack the certain regulation skills because, you got to think about everything we do in life within time is about managing time and the decisions we make within time. And because these parents typically regulate every moment, every schedule, it doesn't give a child an opportunity to develop in time management skills. So when they finally do go off to college, and then I can imagine, I see oftentimes a lot of these parents, they're so happy that Johnny or Susan or whoever went off to college, but they sent them off to college without one of the key components and the key skill set, and life skills, which is time management. How to manage your time, how to prioritize things, how to make a decision between one thing and the next. I never forget, one of the things I did with my girls, I'll do with my children when it's time for school clothes. Okay, it's school clothes and I would say even Christmas stuff, okay? I got to a point after they were really young that I started giving them money for school clothes or giving them money for Christmas presents. But here's what I did and here's why I did it. Instead of me just giving them money and say, y'all go, I'm gonna go with them, but I'm gonna give them the money. And so as I give them the money, I say, hey, Dad's gonna be a part of this experience the whole time. And so as we're going to store, I'm checking it out with them and I'm watching what they're doing, or sometimes I just sit down and I'm part of the experience and they may come over, Dad, what do you think about that? Oh, that looks beautiful. What do you think about that? You know what I'm saying? And you just go from there. And next thing you know, we're in a store for 20, 30 minutes. And then if I'm sitting down somewhere, they come over and say, and they don't have any bags or anything. What happened, babe? I didn't see what I like where I saw that, but that was too much. I'm not spending that much money on that. You see, by me doing that, I still created the quality time moment. But what I allowed them to do is I was allowing them to develop in their financial management skills. I wanted them to decide how much things cost and is it worth it? Versus the other way, where you just go out here, we're gonna go school shopping today, and I have my credit card. See, when you do that and they have no reserve or no resolve for how much they have to budget, how much they can spend, other than the fact that the credit card slides in and slides out and it says thank you, and somebody signs something, you walk away, they'll have no idea on the fact of how all this stuff comes together. But when I gave them the money and I gave them cash, okay, I gave them the money, then what they saw was the money trickling down. And it caused them to make a decision. Do I want this or do I want that? And so now as they get older, they don't just think that, they know that if they call Dad and we really need something, okay, that yes, Dad is gonna be there. But they know more than not, I'm gonna always ask them, baby, what did you try to do yourself? What is the solutions that you try? All of that, me being able to ask them that as they're in college and stuff, has everything to do with when they were younger. Me doing it when they were younger, so that they know that there's a process. There's a process that you gotta, don't just bring me the problem. Bring me the problem in like 2 or 3 solutions. What do you think? And then now I can add on top of that. And so again, here, like I said, the challenges of hovering parents, helicopter parents, and solutions. As I said, number 1, they typically have more health problems. Number 2, they have emotional problems. Number 3, okay, they typically, rely on medication. Number 4, they feel entitled. And number 5, they typically have lack of self-regulation skills. Okay, a lot of it, as I said, because they don't need to be motivated. They don't need to, think about that last one. They don't need to be motivated. Why? Why do I need to be motivated and do something that moves me when I know somebody else is going to come and bring everything to me? If I know the world is going to come to me, why would I ever develop the skill set, the skill set, the body, the strength, the development to go out after something? Why would I ever need to go after something if everything's coming to me? And so I don't know where you're at as a parent today. I don't know where you're at as a parent. I don't know your parenting style exactly, but here's what I do know. Our job as parents, our job as parents is to build up the children, develop them, and then to point them in the arrow, okay, of their purpose and passion and helping them find that and discover what that is. We have a tremendous responsibility and a tremendous role. And I already know, just like life, sometimes people didn't develop us in that way, but here's the opportunity. If you're listening on the sound of my voice, you have an opportunity to where now through the words and the strategies and the different tips that I share, and I will be shared in our online course and in our workbook and all the books and all those things and the other videos, you have an opportunity to put some of these things in practice. And so here's my question to you. What's some of the things that work for you? What's some of the things that you did that your parents did for you as a child, okay, that really helped you now as an adult? Okay, that's one question. Another question, answer this for me. What is something that you don't do now that you didn't do as a child, but that you do now with your children? Okay, and the last one, if you had to characterize yourself as a parent, as what type of parent, are you the helicopter parent? Okay, are you that helicopter parent, or are you the Uber parent that come and just pick you up, whenever you call? Helicopter parent, remember, rescues you. Uber parent drives you where you need to go, or are you the parent that handed them the keys after you already went on some driving lessons with them? Which type of parent are you? I'll be interested to know. Listen, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, man. I'm Donovan Darius, fortunate and blessed to play 10 years in the NFL, learn some key life lessons while playing the game, and be able to live a dream. I currently serve as a professional life strategist and motivational speaker for businesses, corporations, and teams. Also get a chance to do performance coaching, online courses in coaching, as well as authoring and writing books as well. And so listen, I look forward to hearing your feedback, and I'll see you guys, okay, on the next video. If you like these videos, don't forget, post, comment, subscribe, and share. I look forward to hearing from you. Peace out. God bless.